Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Martin to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags. Please stand.
Shall we bow? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to come here and take care of county business. We thank the Lord for the gift of life. As we make righteous decisions, may we use wisdom, understand, and have patience with each other. We ask you to continue blessing this great country that we live in. In Christ's name we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Man.
Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting. Commissioners, you have minutes from April 9th, 2024, regular session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 4, public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. Daniel Harris.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Harris. I live at 3115 Harvest Bend Circle. As y'all are aware, we have had flooding issues over the course of many, many years. And over those years, we have had, commissioners and Brian Toole and all that come out. This started way before 2022, but on April 8th of 2022, Commissioner Strait, when he was in office, he and Brian Toole came out, observed the issues that we had. He stated that it was a county issue. The county would be involved and help us getting this resolved. After that, we had some communication with him and Brian Toole. From then, communication went forward. On November 8th of 2022, we were informed that you, Judge, and Brian had hired an engineer to come out and check the properties and see if anything could be done. From November 8th, 2022 through January 5th, 2024, we had communications back and forth. And on January 5th, 2024, it's over about a 13-month time frame, we were informed that a survey was produced. On January 24th of this year, we were told that there were 2 options that would be looked at. On March 5th, we were told that one option would not be feasible and that the county was looking at the other option. From that point forward, from March 5th until now, we have sent numerous emails to Brian Toole with no response. We've sent, and this isn't just me, this is the community and neighborhood that we live in, with multiple neighbors sending emails trying to get communication. So there was emails sent on March 26th and April 9th. We have not received any response. We're just trying to figure out what, if anything, is the county going to be able to do, and we would appreciate the communication moving forward. We've sent emails asking if we could have a meeting with all parties involved, with Brian, with you, Judge, Commissioner Monroe, if that's even possible, so that way we can figure out what we need to do, what the county's going to do, if anything at all. We're mainly looking for an answer if something is going to be done by the county or if this is something that us as residents need to resolve on our own. But like I said before, we had been told before that the county would be taking care of it. So again, we're just trying to get our communication moving forward with all parties involved with the county.
All right, thank you. Israel Sanchez.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Israel Sanchez. I live at 3201 Harvest Bend Circle. To caveat off of what Mr. Harris said, there have been numerous emails just trying to get an answer. At this point, I understand the court cannot comment on this, but if we could just get a simple, yes, we're going to help, no, we're not going to help. That's all, we're really looking for. Commissioner Monroe, I know we spoke a couple weeks ago, I stated the same thing. I do know that there is a certain individual by the name of Jason Krug who has been supposedly speaking on our behalf. He does not speak on our behalf. I just wanted to make that clear. He doesn't even live on the site that's affected by the flooding. So I just wanted to, hopefully maybe Mr. Toole can send us an email or Commissioner Monroe, at least, give us a little bit of light, like, hey, we can help, no, we can't help, so we can at least try to fix it. Some kind of response would be great, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Rawson.
Morning, I'm Chad Rawson. I live in Sulphur Springs. I do septic installs and all over here in Hunt County. We've been trying to have a meeting with Mr. Hill, and email sent on April the 10th, no response. There are several installers here that we all want to try to have a meeting so we can resolve some stuff and work together. Another thing is on raising some of the fees. When y'all raise the fees, they put it in deal right then, in effect. And we have to send letters out or maintenance contracts out 60 days ahead of time. And that costs us lots of money when that happens, because by law, we've got to send it out because everything's supposed to be turned in early. And y'all do it last minute, and it costs us money out of our pockets. Back late December, 1st January, I had a situation come up with a lady. She was pregnant. She couldn't even use the restroom. I didn't know nothing about the property. Didn't know there'd ever been issues. Supposedly there was. I kind of got some threatening letters, emails from David Jones. And we did get the system put in, but he threatened to citate me and take me to jail and all this. I had attorneys lined up to handle it, but we got it resolved, we got it in, but I don't appreciate those emails threatening. Like I say, we've tried to get a hold of Richard Hill. He was in communication. They have worked a little bit with us, changing some stuff with Eclipse and all. I know that was about to drive everybody crazy. So we kind of backed off and waited till that was over. And then I sent an email and never have got another response. So that's what we'd like to do, is try to get some meetings set up with Mr. Hill to try to get some things resolved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Jeremy Welch. Can you read that writing?
I'm Jeremiah Welch. Me and my dad own Big John Septic Service, kind of over here for the same thing Chad was. They're just, a lot of the people in the septic office, there's kind of it's unorganized. They're trying to implement, they're spending more time digging through the book, looking for rules to make things harder on everybody than they are actually doing their job. The other counties that are similar in size, like Collin or Grayson, they're doing just as much with less people because of their organization. Collin County probably puts in 1,500 septics a year. And they approve the permits and get the inspections done with about 4 people in the office on the septic side. Grayson County does about 800, which I'm thinking is probably right along the lines of Hunt County. And they have 2 people and a part-time lady in the office that get the things done. And I don't know how many we got over here, 4 or 5 in the septic office, and nobody can seem to make a decision on when you can get an inspection. They change things by the seat of their pants. They don't contact us and tell us they're changing them. You just come up over here and they say, oh, we changed that. Or you call them and say, oh, we changed that. For instance, the inspection, they used to have to give every other county, and over here even, you're used to supposed to give 48 hours notice for an inspection. And a lot of times they could slip them in more than that if they, if need be. You know, if you called 24 hours, they say, well, if you want it done tomorrow, that's fine, we have room. Now they started a while back, they wanted 3 days exactly notice for inspections. They changed that and didn't tell nobody. I know they've recently switched to where you don't have to have a appointment to go in the office and turn in paperwork anymore, but it's just, other counties are doing a lot more with a lot less. And it just seems like they're trying to make things a lot harder than they need to be. They're just, for instance, they're digging through the rule book saying, I think now you have to have they got 5 days. You need to call 5 days ahead of time to set up an inspection. Well, if you do that, you call 5 days ahead of time. Say you put the tank in the day before the 5th day. You don't know what the weather's going to do. If you call 5 days ahead of time, 4 days in advance, you don't know what the weather's going to do that day. So it rains, you can't put the tank in, you call and cancel it. Nobody likes canceling inspections. The county don't like you canceling inspections because somebody else could have been in that spot. And then they kind of get a chip on their shoulder because you canceled. But they made you call 5 days in advance when you don't, this time of year, you can't hardly give 5 days in advance. Other counties, like Grayson County, for instance, you go over there, you give them 24 hours notice. A lot of the times they'll show up that same day. Or if you give them 48 hours notice, they really like that. But, there's just some things probably need to change. I think I don't know how many licensed people are over here, but I know y'all have one from Fannin County that, she stirred up a lot of controversy over there, and now she's over here, and I kind of think she's stirring up the same controversy.
Okay, thank you. One point of clarity, we are a little different in those other counties. We have a health department, so that department in there also does restaurant inspections, pool inspections, for health safety. So we have more going on in that office than just the septic permits. But thank you.
I'm talking about who's in the office doing the septic stuff. Y'all have 4 or 5 people over there handling that.
Well, we have 2 secretaries that are handling all of that, or 2 of the people, and then I think we either got 2 or 3 that are doing the septic side. So, thank you for your comments. Casey Weatherly.
Hello, I'm Casey. I'm Casey Weatherly, represent Weatherly Septic Services. I'd like to talk to you folks about the permitting procedure. It's taken way too long to get permits in this county, pushing right up to a month. Like Jeremiah said on the inspections, it's taken way too long. I don't understand the 5-day window. If I wanted to schedule an inspection for this day next year, I should be able to schedule that. And one of the things I brought with me today is the system hadn't been covered up. It's flooded due to rainfall and everything. This is a liability. This is what we're dealing with on a frequent basis right now. Other thing is the failure to communicate the changes, as some of the others had said. We don't find out anything until we walk in this office. They have a new system for scheduling inspections that there's issues with. 2 weeks ago, I had an inspection scheduled. No one showed up. Tried calling the inspector, texting the inspector, didn't get anything called the office. They said, you're not on the schedule. I said, yes, I am. They hauled around for about 15 minutes and finally sent someone else out there to do my inspection. Wasted about 1.5 hours of my time. The other thing that's recently popped up is having a survey with the application package. I don't know if that's required or not. It hadn't been required in the last 20 years. I never turned in a survey with the application package. And also, most of these problems have came about in the last year under David Jones's supervision. That's all I have.
Thank you. Scott Slaughter.
Good morning. My name's Scott Slaughter. I own and operate Slaughter Septic. I've been in the septic industry for about 30 years. We average about 175 systems a year, and I work in about 8 counties. And out of all those 8 counties, I have way more trouble in Hunt County than all the other counties combined. It takes a full 30 days to get a permit, and 9 times out of 10, your permit's not going to pass the first time, so get ready for another 30 days after that. Here recently, at a pre-construction meeting for a commercial septic system, David took some notes, and it took him 3 weeks to send me the revisions for what we needed to do to comply. Inspections, it takes a full week to get an inspection. When we do a job, we set the tank, we do all our work with our equipment, then we've got to pull off with all our equipment, leave this hole that's 8 feet deep and sometimes open for anybody to fall in. Whose liability for that? I mean, I don't know. It rains, we've got a mess. We can't wait a week for an inspection. On average, Hunt County probably takes in 3 permits a day. So that means in return there would be 3 inspections a day. Why do we have to schedule so far in advance for 3 inspections? As he said, when there was a problem, an inspector came out in 15 minutes. Is that representation of what should be happening? All the other counties are very prompt. And when we move, it gets into my back pocket, because I've got to move this equipment off this job, because we can't leave it there a week. Move it somewhere else, move it back. What we really need to do is just figure out a way to make this more efficient. And all the other counties are online, doing things online. I don't have to drive all the way up here to drop my paperwork off, to be refused, drive all the way back home. It's a multi-trip process. So if it was all online, we wouldn't have to deal with the people in the office. They could send us back emails of what we were in deficiencies, and we could fix everything there. So streamlining and them considering that this is how we make a living. Every time this nonsense comes on, it costs me money. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else wish to speak? Mark, you're not going to speak to us today?
No quote today.
Okay. All right, this time I'll close public testimony. David, no. No old business, under new business, consent calendar. Commissioners, you have the consent calendar in front of you. Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. B, action items. Discuss and possibly take action on the following. Approval of accounts payable.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Got a motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Make a motion to approve line item transfers.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Make a motion to approve payroll and personnel?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, proclamation for mental health awareness on May 1st through May 31st. Let's see. Yeah, Nikki's here. She was, yeah. I think she wanted me to read it. All right, Hunt County, Texas proclamation for Mental Illness Awareness Month. Whereas it is more important than ever to build a stronger mental health system that provides the care, support, and services needed to improve overall health. And whereas in 5 U.S. adults experience a mental health problem in any given year, and 3.3 million adults in Texas have mental health condition. Whereas 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illness each year, and 796,000 adults in Texas have a serious mental illness. Whereas more than half of people with a mental health condition in the U.S. did not receive any treatment last year, including 839,000 Texas adults. And whereas 15 million Texans live in a community that does not have enough mental health professional, and whereas 1 in 6 U.S. youth ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year, including 314,000 Texas teenagers suffering from depression, and whereas 65% of Texas teenagers diagnosed with depression did not receive any care last year. And whereas 7 in 10 youth in Texas juvenile justice system have a mental health condition, and whereas 1 in 4 people with a serious mental illness have been arrested at some point in their lifetime, and about 2 in 5 Texas adults in jail or prison have a history of mental illness. And whereas 1 person in the U.S. dies by suicide every 11 minutes, and in Texas, 3,930 lives were lost to suicide last year. Whereas long delays, sometimes decades, often occur between the time of symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas early identification and treatment can make a difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery. And whereas it is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental illness in order to get help when it is needed. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help. And whereas public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now therefore it be resolved by County Judge Bobby Stovall of Hunt County, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 1 through May 31st, 2024 is Mental Illness Awareness Month in Hunt County, Texas, to shine a light on mental illness and fight stigma, provide support education to the public, and advocate for equal care. Commissioners, I entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioners. This is really I think probably the #1 challenge in America today. The mental illness of our citizens in the U.S. is critical. It's critical for many families. I don't know many, as it says, most families have somebody in their family that's touched with mental illness. And in Hunt County, we have over 50% of our residents in our county jail have some form of mental illness, and there are not enough providers. There's several different groups working pretty hard trying to get some help. Hospital is proposing some help with a new outreach mental assistance, and I know there's a couple of grants out with North Texas Behavioral and that will help hopefully. So anytime you have a chance to encourage anybody that has mental illness to seek help, please do it. Would y'all like to get a picture, Nikki?
Come on, Mark, go to work. Do your duty.
I don't know, but the wheel just. The wheel? We're just gonna slide it under there. Hope that's- Looks good.
Jess? Do you have the other proclamation? I don't seem to see it here. Yeah. Are we doing it? Okay.
Sure. You want a copy?
I probably shuffled it in with the papers wrong. Thank you. All right, action item number 2, a proclamation for our Texas A&M AgriLife Extension volunteers in honor of National Volunteer Appreciation Month. Mary, you want any comments, or?
Full of energy.
I want to
isn't
comment.
Do what?
she? He's full of energy.
I came in with glitter and a giant check, so I won't take too much of your time. And thank you so much for having us here this morning. April is National Volunteer Appreciation Month, and across the nation, and AgriLife is ran by its volunteers. Here in Hunt County, at this current moment, in our extension office, we have myself wearing the Family and Community Health hat, the 4-H hat, with some support from our program assistant, and then also the Ag and Natural Resource hat. So there's no way I can be in all the places at once, and so that's where our many, many volunteers come into play. I'm going to do a quick little slideshow because it's got good numbers that I can't memorize, and then we'll move on. This right here gives the court an idea of how our volunteers are kind of broken up and organized in the office. We have committee members, we have our Hunt County Texas Master Gardeners, we have our 4-H adult volunteers, and then we also have our Texas Extension Education Association. So there's other volunteer options too, but these are the ones that we have represented here in Hunt County. So first off, with our committees, we have 7 different committees here in the county with 49 committee members. Up in that top right corner, it's a list of all of them there. I have my FCH Healthy Hunt County Committee. We have our 4-H PAC Program Advisory Committee. We have our Horticulture Committee. We have our Leadership Advisory Board, our Ag Day Task Force, our Ag and Livestock Committee, and our Ag Income Report Committee. So with this group of committee members, their hours donated the last fiscal year were 392, and that translates into $12,465.60 of economic impact. And I believe the state of Texas right now, for 1 hour of volunteer service, it equals over $28 of economic impact in the county. So that's where we're getting that number from. Moving to our Master Gardeners, we have 34 active Master Gardeners right now, 7 Master Gardener committees, 12 Master Gardeners with specialist training. Their hours donated is over, it's 2,653 hours. They're out there in that heritage garden working. They're out in the community presenting presentations. And their economic impact for last year was $84,365.40. So greatly appreciate our Master Gardeners. Our 4-H adult volunteers, a lot of them couldn't come. They're out there at the fairgrounds right now. They've got the Friars showing this morning. But we have club managers, we have project leaders, we have program support, and then we also have that 4-H advisory committee. Their hours donated, 5,591 hours. which equals $174,718.75 worth of economic impact. It's a lot of good stuff going on there. Okay. I think we got one more here. This is our Hunt County, Texas Extension Education Association, formerly known as the Food Demonstrators once upon a time. And these ladies meet monthly in the office. We have a great time. And some of them have been out in the county presenting programs, helping that mental health. This Miss Terry right here that's there with Mr. Martin, she teaches painting over there at the Colonial Lodge. So we've got a lot of good things going on with these group of ladies. And gentlemen, we've had 2 gentlemen join. So there's 15 TIA members. Their hours donated is $270. Their economic impact is $8,586. So what does all this mean, Basil? Let's see. Oh, no. There we go. This is our total economic impact from the office via our volunteers. And I have this gigantic check to prove it, but I'm going to read this big number. It is $283,210.80 for last fiscal year. I was out at the show, the GOAT show last night, and the judge said something really impactful about volunteering. Volunteers donate 2 very important resources to our community, love and their time. And I'm so glad that they created this economic impact formula so we can kind of put it in a fiscal perspective. But we're grateful for our volunteers, and we're grateful for the court's time to help us celebrate them. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, this time I'll read the proclamation. Whereas volunteering of one's time and resources is a fundamental part of our county's tradition and is essential to its spirit, and whereas it is increasingly more evident that our nation's greatest resource is its people, and whereas volunteers have shown that they truly care and share generously of their time, of themselves, and whereas volunteerism is increasingly recognized as a central partner with government, education, and industry in doing the work of our nation, and whereas volunteers in Hunt County programs enable youth and adults of Hunt County to more fully develop and utilize their life skills, effectively using their resources, and more fully extend the knowledge of the university to the people, and whereas volunteerism directly reflects the democratic principles upon which this nation was founded, in that everyone, regardless of circumstances, position, or other factors, can volunteer. Whereas we are seeking even more contributions of human resources and volunteerism and better application of these valuable contributions. Therefore, we wish to honor and thank the dedicated volunteers of Hunt County AgriLife Extension who give so freely to their valuable time, energy, and abilities to proclaim this week of April 21st through 27th, 2024 to be officially designated as National Volunteer Week in Hunt County. And in doing so, I call all citizens of Hunt County to help renew and sustain the spirit and vitality of this great nation by committing a portion of their time to address the needs of their communities through action. Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Anybody?
Hey, we appreciate you. We appreciate all those that do go out and work when they're off time. I tell you what, we got a group, a pretty good group, gardeners and everything else. We thank you, and we thank y'all for what y'all do for this community.
Is that check gonna bounce?
That's for you. Oh, gosh, it does have my name on there.
We want a picture of that also with us, please.
Well, we would love that too, and we're presenting this to you. This can go right in your office, Judge Stovall, if you love it. Just kidding. No? Oh, that were me. I was like, no.
Jessica, you're gonna have to get a big frame for that one.
I wanted one of those big foam Ed McMahon ones.
Oh, it's in the folder over here.
Yes, all the volunteers.
did?
Well, it wasn't wrong.
It's the one I read. Oh. Oh. Well, see, that's what happens when you don't stick it in my folder. I get confused.
Oh, I'm gonna let the judge hold it. There we go. Okay, there we go. And,
I can't do both.
here, there we go. I brought too many. I'm too much. I'm extra. Everywhere I go.
Yes, but it run me.
Everybody ready? All right. Oh, no, not ready. Okay, here we go. Everybody? Good job. One more. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Let me fix my hair. Can you get one more?
There's one out of place.
Thank you so much.
Spend some county funds.
Golly. Thank you.
Go grab it.
One of them too.
All right, action item number 3, the quarterly report of the Audie Murphy Cotton Museum. Susan? Good morning.
Thank you for letting me come and present our quarterly report for you guys. Over the last 3 months, visitors have come from 37 different states, as well as the District of Columbia. And internationally, they've come from Australia, Canada, Puerto Rico, and Ukraine. There was a total of 1,553 paid visitors, and a total of 1,651 people have actually signed our guest book. Some of our visitors spent 24 nights in our local hotels, which included Hampton Inn, Comfort Suites, Holiday Inn, Best Western, Express Inn, and Super 8. Some of our tours have included Providence Academy out of Rockwall, their 4th grade class, Boy Scouts from Killeen, soldiers from the Fort Cavazos came up and they had a wonderful time. That was awesome talking to them. And a homeschool group out of Emory. Our lunch break special speakers this quarter included Don Ward, Yvette Hutchins, Desi Armstrong, and Reverend Price, who all spoke about gospel music, which was fascinating to hear them all talk. And in March, Dennis Hogan gave a presentation on the Texas Midland Railroad. And we also had a World War II roundtable program where John Pierce talked about the diary his father kept during World War II. And we had right around 60 people come to that, so that was awesome. We also hosted the Business After Hours in January for the first time in several years and had a great interaction with a lot of new people, and so it was awesome to have them all come out, and we plan to do it again next year. We also had a great turnout during February's gun show with 704 people attending. In March, we had our Adults Only Easter egg hunt that we do every year. And for our movie nights, we showed Riders in the Sky starring Gene Autry and The Millerson Case starring Warner B. Baxter. And we also installed a new temporary exhibit on the Greenville Legacy on gospel music, and then we are also moving. Last year we did our motorcycle run in May. We're actually going to do that in September this year. And Audie Day is coming up May 18th, so hopefully some of you guys can come to that as well. Kevin Brody will be here, who acted in two movies with Audie. And we also have another one I'm really interested in. Martha Bolton is coming, who used to work for Bob Hope and has written a book about Bob Hope's World War II USO correspondence. So thank you all so much, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Yes, I have one question. Were you able to work out the deal with the trash company coming in the back way?
We're still working on that one.
Okay.
We've got the fence installed, so if you haven't seen our new fence by Prefert, it looks awesome. We're very excited about that. So, but yeah, we're
Okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 4, the Treasurer's Monthly Report for for February 2024. Brittany?
Good morning. In your packets, you will see the Treasurer's Report for month-end February 29, 2024. We had a month-end balance of $83,210,876.27. That is cash and invested funds. The bank recs were balanced, and the books agree with the auditor's office. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Brittany. Action on item number 5, the Hunt County Delinquent Tax Collections Update from Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott. Patrick?
Good morning, Judge Stovall, Commissioners. Good to be with you all again this morning. Here to provide another update for you guys on the delinquent tax collections. 3 things I want to cover today. One, I want to provide an update on the 2022 tax year delinquent tax collections. Number 2, just kind of provide an overview of where the overall delinquent accounts stand through the 2022 tax year. And then lastly, I want to provide an update on the kind of resale project we've been working on. So with that, if you turn to the second page in your packet, through April, I'm providing some details and data on the collections activity, over 3,200 phone contacts, over 9,000 letters mailed, over 2,200 address updates where we try to locate and find folks with bad addresses, look for new addresses to get notices out to, monitoring and filing in the bankruptcy court for any bankruptcies that are filed, protect the tax lien and file our proof of claim. Over 100 lawsuits filed. Pay agreements are listed there. And then the last thing was I've added a data point for excess proceeds. These are amounts that are when we take properties to a tax sale. If the property sells above and beyond what the taxes are due at the minimum bid, the excess proceeds will stay in the registry of the court for 2 years from the date of the tax sale. And after those 2 years, if the former property owner doesn't file a claim for those proceeds, then the taxing units can go and file a claim and get the money from the excess proceeds. So we actively monitor that. It's something we monitor, file into, and have the court write the checks that get dispersed to the different taxing units. Another service we're adding on that that we do perform for the county. And I kind of think that maybe looking at the AgriLife extension program, maybe I need to come in here with like a bigger check because that was pretty cool. I need to step up my game in that regard, but it's something to consider. Next page, the 22 turnover. There I'm showing the amount that shows the collection percentage of over 50% through the end of March. Here, this brings the overall tax collections, including the regular tax collections and the delinquent accounts, to around 98%. So we'll continue to close the gap on that 2% sliver that's outstanding, the delinquent accounts that are outstanding. The next page, showing the overall delinquent tax account breakdown through the 2022 tax year. There you see that we have 22% in litigation, 35% of the accounts are in deferral. And again, a deferral account is an account that is a resident homestead that's either over 65, has a disability, and in that regard, the taxes are delinquent, they're due, but they can't be seized upon or sold in a tax foreclosure until the deferral comes off. So there's something to note there. Show the breakdown of the property's percentage in trust, bad addresses that we're continuing to look for, better addresses to notify people. And then again, just showing on the right side, the account breakdown by dollar range. You'll see there that again, we have 88% of the number of delinquent property accounts base tax less than $1,000. And so we continue to collect on those accounts and file suits as necessary, but just something to point out. The next page, this is Commissioner Martin's deferral tracker that I've prepared for you. So just showing the number of deferrals and the dollar amounts quarter by quarter since this time last year. And again, it starts out in July. There's a large amount that's turned over, but as deferrals come off, and usually that's indicative of, if somebody passes away, the deferral comes off. There's 180 days between the time the deferral comes off and the time which we can collect. Sometimes the appraisal district is reviewing those accounts, whereby property owners can only have one property that's in deferral as a resident homestead. And sometimes the appraisal district finds those discrepancies and reconciles those. So, and then the last page, just providing an update on the resale project. Again, when we started this project, there were 143 properties that were struck off to the county. We've been taking those back to public tax sales. We've sold 108 of those. And, at this point, there's almost $70,000 of the taxes that were due that were paid. But more importantly, we're getting those properties back on the tax roll so that they're just not sitting struck off to the county. We do have, we're preparing another sale in June, and I believe that, by the end of this year, we're going to have all those properties sold and back on the tax roll. So with that, I will open it up to any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions?
Just to clarify, on page 4, where you give the breakdown,
yes,
6,522, that's the total number of delinquent accounts?
Number of properties. That's the number of properties, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else? Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you again.
Action item number 6, a donation in the amount of $1,500 to Hunt County's Children Advocacy Center of Northeast Texas, given from the county attorney's office. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Appointing action number 7, appointing Brandon Baird, IT Director, to implement a state-mandated cybersecurity training course through the Texas Department of Information Resources for all county government employees and elected officials who have access to a government computer system or database to fulfill the requirements of the Texas Government Code 2054.5191. Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 8, Hunt County Transportation Steering Committee recommendation of amendments to Freeze and Nichols Work Order Authorization 2 and 3. Dee, you want to speak on?
Morning.
Morning.
It's been a while since I've spoken to you. As you know, the county has several projects going that are projects that are part of the 2016 bond package that was passed. And the county is doing the engineering, design, and planning work for those to attract and leverage those funds to attract state and federal construction dollars. And some of those projects are underway or have been completed, and others are in the planning stages now. And one of those is the project that begins at I-30 at the interchange with 1903 and goes to Farm to Market Road 36 and then on into Caddo Mills. And that particular project, you may recall, instead of taking it into Caddo Mills where the streets are narrow, that's where FM 36 actually goes before it goes north of Caddo Mills. The decision was made to at Caddo Mills High School to veer to the west across a greenfield area to tie into FM 6 and create a regional thoroughfare That was presented to the North Central Texas Council of Governments and the TxDOT. They like that idea. We've been working on that now for about 3 years. A lot of the engineering work has been done. It's under a work authorization that you approved a number of years ago with Freese and Nichols to do the planning and engineering work. And it's moving along. There's no construction funded allocated to those projects at this time, but we're trying to get them close to being shovel-ready so that right-of-way acquisition can begin, and eventually construction dollars will come for those projects. One of the issues, though, that has arisen, well, a couple of things. When you go across a greenfield area that has a creek and moves a lot of water, you get into environmental issues in addition to sometimes artifacts and various other things that you have to deal with. And part of that project was the bridge that originally thought would be about 350 feet. As it turns out, based on the water studies, will be about 1,400 feet. And then there's the issue of the DG&O Railroad that goes along 66, and that has to be traversed, and the railroad is not willing to allow another at-grade crossing there, and not a real surprise, but that becomes another issue with this project. But I think the Dallas TxDOT district is working on the Collin County side on FM6, and our work authorization, the one that you approved about 3 years ago, only included the work from I-30 up to 66. And the piece, now that the routing has changed, the piece from 66 to the Collin County line on FM6 was never included, but will need to be included, because to make that a true regional thoroughfare, it all needs to connect. And there's a lot of interest in that, as you might imagine, not only from Caddo Mills, but also from Nevada and Josephine, and TxDOT district is working on a plan to widen that through Nevada and Josephine. So I was approached in December by TxDOT about the possibility of making a change in the consultant, Freese and Nichols, and whether or not the county would be amenable to allowing TxDOT to take over the Greenfield project, basically from Caddo Mills High School to 66, and then add the piece about 3 miles in Hunt County that has FM6, and tie all of that together and let TxDOT take that over. Obviously, that would save the county money. We're at a point now, you'll recall that there have been 2 tranches of bonds issued, each for $6 million. We still have about another $12.2 million that has not been issued, but we're working real hard now that interest rates have gone up so much to try to get as much done with available funds. The last time we issued, or you issued, the interest rate was 1.47%, and today it'll probably be closer to between 4.5% and 5%. So,
while you're talking about that, in reference to them possibly taking it over, would they require some of our funds to come with it?
No.
Good, thank you.
And that's one of the advantages to this. I think they want to have a consultant, and pending your decision about whether to amend the work authorization. If you amend this work authorization, that's what's before you today, then the Freese and Nichols work authorization will just be from I-30 basically to Caddo Mills High School. and there'll be a transition there, and then that project hopefully can move forward probably more quickly than the one going across the greenfield, because that's going to take some time with the environmental issues, the bridges, the overpass, dealing with the railroad. You got to have jug handles to get people over 66 and back onto 66, and so it's a longer-term project, and Cattle Mills desperately needs it, right, Commissioner? Cattle Mills has about 4,500 platted lots, I believe, and, is continuing to grow. And so I can tell you Freese and Nichols is disappointed that we've had this conversation over the last 3 months with them, but they've been very professional about the way they've dealt with this, and they'll continue with this amendment to work on 1903 and 36 from I-30 to Cattle Mills High School, and have a nice transition to the old part of 36 for now until the Greenfield project going to the west can be developed. It's about a $200,000 savings. That probably is an understatement of what the costs eventually would have been, because when the work authorization was approved, it didn't include a 1,400-foot bridge, and it certainly didn't include the overpass over the railroad and over 66. So I think you would have been faced with probably having to issue another tranche of bonds to finish out that project. And I think with this idea of the regional thoroughfare, we'll have support from the COG, from the RTC to move some funding along. And Judge Stovall and I and Freese and Nichols and TxDOT went over in late October, had a face-to-face meeting with the leaders of the COG, Michael Morris and his team. And I think that was very worthwhile. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Judge? I mean,
Yeah.
It's good to get before people to talk to them face-to-face and really try to get them to agree to do things. They like the idea of these regional thoroughfare projects, and it'd be a great project for Collin County, for Nevada and Josephine, as well as Hunt County. And the nice thing about it is it brings a lot of people from that area of Collin County toward Hunt County for shopping and to go to doctors and various other things that they do. But in your packet, you've got some drawings there. There's a couple of drawings that you can see where that project would be located, and it shows the regional aspect of it, going from State Highway 78 as Highway FM 6 and joining 36 and 1903 to take it to I-30. And I'd be glad to answer any questions, but what's before you today is this amendment to the Freese and Nichols work authorization to reduce that work authorization by $200,000 and to take away the greenfield part of the project and allow TxDOT to take that over and try to combine that with the work on FM6 that they also would do. So I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
It sounds like you were saying earlier, if I understood correctly, this would assist with the timeline of these projects. At least on our end.
I would love to tell you, Commissioner Hutchins, that this project's going to get done in the next 3 years or whatever. These projects just take forever, and people are going to have to be patient. With the growth in Cattle Mills, there are going to be problems. Commissioner Monroe and TxDOT and Freese and Nichols and I were out looking at Gilmer Street, the corner where Gilmer intersects with 66 on Friday. because that's whether having backups of a mile or more at that red light. That red light's great, but it didn't, when it was put in, there were no left turn lanes. There's no right turn yield lanes, and it's a tight right-of-way situation, but something's got to be done there because that's going to have to suffice until the Greenfield project can get built. And so we're trying, the county's going to, under a contract that we already have, to look at some things that can be done on State Highway 66. Freese and Nichols is going to do the planning and engineering work, cooperating with the city and TxDOT to try to squeeze out enough right-of-way, hopefully existing, plus maybe some additional from a lease with the railroad on the south side of 66 to create a left turn lanes for that, and then have some right turn yield lanes to try to move traffic along, because right now there's only one lane going each way on all four of those roads. So, but those are just things we need to deal with, and sometimes some of them are short term, and particularly as long as it's going to take to do this. I mean, we're 1570 is fully funded to make that basically 5-lane curb and gutter with sidewalks. It's funded, but it probably can't be let until 2026, 2027. Right-of-way, there's some right-of-way that has to be acquired because of slope issues. And so these projects just take time, unfortunately. But you guys, you've got a plan, and you've adopted the master plan for on-system. You've adopted the thoroughfare plan for the off-system county roads, and that gives you a great way to be able to work, with developers and other people to make sure that we've got enough right-of-way to move people.
I'd like to make this statement. We've been working on this since 2001 and before, and you've been on that chair all this time, you along with some other gentlemen. We appreciate it. I thank you for bringing this report to us.
Any other
Well, and just for clarity for the court, Freese and Nichols is not going away. It's just that on this portion of the job is what they're being relieved of to continue other. And a lot of that, I think, was because TxDOT Dallas was coming that way with 6, and with it being a regional mobility, it just kind of made sense that TxDOT took it over, and it saves us a bunch of money. So it's a really a good thing for us. It's not, it's nothing bad about it. And hopefully that COG will get that mobility plan approved. If not already approved, I haven't seen it if they have. And we can start getting some funding lined up in the future.
Well, it's in their 2045 plan that.
But we want to move it up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're trying to get.
Well, that doesn't mean you have to wait.
Yeah.
We need to keep the wheel squeaking so that hopefully we get some money earlier, much earlier than that. I might not live long enough to see that.
Well, we thank you for everything you do, Dee, and for your steering committee and the county, and we owe you a great debt. So we appreciate you. All right, Commissioner, entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move items 9 and 10 to old business. Action item number 11, consider and approve the amended interlocal agreement for ground lease and maintenance is approved by the Combined Consumers Special Utility District that adds square footage to the previously agreed space for the Public Safety Radio Program radio tower enclosure due to a later discovered utility easement. Daniel?
All right, May of last year, we'd previously approved a interlocal agreement with the CCSUD for one of the new radio towers. This amends that agreement and makes it a few feet bigger, makes it 75 feet across instead of 60. This is the lease that we have for $1 a year. We had to make it bigger for several reasons, but that's all this does, is just increase the size. It doesn't increase anything else.
All right. Commissioners, any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 12, discuss action regarding authorization of request for proposal for management services associated with American Rescue Plan Act. Grant Works that was here last meeting, they say that we need to do a request for proposal to get other people that are in the same industry to potentially give us a proposal that we can select potentially another vendor if we choose, another firm if we choose. So I entertain a motion that we approve issuing request for proposal for management services associated with American Rescue Plan Act.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 13, committing American Rescue Plan Act funding to purchase radios for volunteer fire departments and county municipal police departments. I'll make one statement before, Mr. Martin, I'll let you speak. It's your item. The last meeting, there was some discussion about when the radio discount would last, and I think I said I thought it was till the end of the year. Virginia said it was till we accepted it, and we forgot that we tied to the Henderson contract. So we really have till 2026 before the discount goes away. So just for clarity of that, so everybody understands that. Philip?
I appreciate that knowledge and reference to that, because all this time we've been told the other. Basically, even all the chief of police where they had a meeting said it had to be decided, y'all get 45% off and you had to pay for it by then. You look on Google and it says apply for American Rescue Plan Fund to help your departments purchase new radios, communication equipment. Application assistance available through Fire Grants Help Team and L3. So basically, know that they're already able, in reference to use ARPA money as communications. There's no doubt about that. I tell you what, we're looking for a radio, basically that'll cover all areas of Hunt County and beyond, actually. And that's what we've done. I notice we do have restricted availability in reference to monies, $5,653,734,000 and non-restricted. On the other hand, it's my opinion is that the radios qualify to be paid from the restricted portion of ARPA and probably the other also. I'm making a motion that we have set aside monies. In fact, Mr. Hutchins advised to me, and at that time in actuality, $1.8 million, according to somebody's paperwork out there, would take care of the fire departments only. But also, you got to understand this, we're going to have to take care of the police departments also. In some areas. I had been told by Hawk Cove, as I had earlier, to Walkeny, we know of the volunteer firemen, they don't have any money either in reference to taking care of this. And it's important that we be as a whole of communications. That's part of good law enforcement, also health and safety. So therefore, I make a motion that we have set aside monies for this purpose from the restricted portion, or non-portion if you desire to, portion of the ARPA funds at this time contingent upon clarification from our consultant. Now that consultant's not even hired yet, but you can look all over the place and say, yes, you can. There have been other counties, volunteer fire departments funded by this. But we do need to make sure that we have funding because we need to keep this thing going. I do make that motion. This projection qualified from the restricted portion, and that's a motion.
Was there an amount? Philip, what was the amount with your motion?
Pardon?
What was the amount?
I would like to go to 2.3 million because I believe that will actually take care of, in actuality, possibly take care of everybody. But I tell you what, I had a conversation, and the reason I'm saying this is that I had a conversation with the mayor, and in the past, or last time I met, I was told that they were trying to make preparations. They said, we don't have the money, Philip. So I'm bringing that up in that. I would like the 2.3, that way we can make sure we have it, because that 1.8 supposedly we're supposed to take care of just the fire departments. And I would say as we move on and get those to come in, for instance, we never heard about it in the committees until this last time, that they would go out and, look at each one of them. But I do think that we owe it to our citizens. And I did not realize that everything was so bad in reference to AMR, because we hadn't been told. But we need this. We need law enforcement and our health and safety, our first aid responders. We need and have to have them corresponding with each other, because that's health and safety of this county. I'll say 2.3 million, if we can set that aside.
So just to repeat it back to make sure I understand it, your motion is to designate 2.3 million for assistance in purchase of radios for the volunteer fire departments and county municipal police departments, contingent upon, from the restricted portion of the ARPA funds, contingent on our consultant confirming that it is an acceptable use.
To me,
That's your motion?
that's my motion. Here's what's funny to me. We know it's all acceptable, everybody in this room does, but we're going to wait for a while to figure it out. It's acceptable because it's been done throughout the state.
Second.
I so move that motion.
All right, I've got a comment or two. I think everybody on this court is supportive of the local police and our volunteer firefighters. We've done it in the past, and we've committed we'll continue to do this. Some statements were made at the last meeting that rationale for doing this out of the ARPA funding is because it wouldn't affect local taxpayers. Well, that's not exactly true. We've got facilities that we're expanding. We've got windows we need to put in the courthouse. We've got air conditioners that need to go on top of the current jail that are starting to fail. We've got multiple projects that need to happen. So it doesn't matter which project is on ARPA or which is coming out of our capital improvement funds that we already have set aside. One or the other, if you spend some of that out of ARPA, then you can spend the radios out of the others. So that really is not a point to me. It doesn't affect us. We can fund it either way. It doesn't have to be out of the ARPA funding. I'm not opposed to the ARPA funding, but to Philip, I think you're right. I think we could do it, but my concern is, one, we're already in the middle of the project. The other projects were approved with ARPA funding prior to the commencement of it, and it was set up to do that. I'm not sure about, I want our consultants to tell us that we can maybe be reimbursed for what we've already spent out of our operating account and put it all into ARPA. That may be a better solution for us than the way that we're suggesting to do it right now. And, I don't think this is a good move today. We don't have our consultant in yet. We've created a committee, which was recommended last week, that I think meets later in the week tomorrow to start trying to answer these questions. It's made up of Commissioner Hutchins and Harrison and others from law enforcement and volunteer firefighters, and is there somebody from the hospital? And there's somebody from the hospital. So they need to get into it and answer some questions. And, we're just sitting and saying that we have to take over dispatch from AMR because we're having problems right now. Nobody disagrees with that. But as far as I know, we've never gone to talk to AMR and say, hey, we got a problem. Y'all have a problem. What's the solution? Can y'all improve on what you're doing? I've got a pretty good guess that they're short-staffed. If it's taking longer for the calls to go out, and I know it's kind of an awkward deal where we have 2 or 3 phone calls in the process, But just recently, for the first time, we had a full staff in our dispatch area. So it's not easy to have it fully manned at all times. We got there by finally getting the pay up to a point to where we could hire people. If that's AMR's problem, maybe they can fix that, or, you know, we pay $2,000 a month or $2,400 a month, something like that, to AMR for dispatching the fire. And 70% of the calls are medical, and 30 are fire. Of course, we know fire goes and backs up the medical. But we don't know, you know, if we need to find out if we got a solution with AMR, if it's only a short-term fix, because we're not going to be up and going on our radios till end of the year, first of next year. Then we've got a lot of people in the sheriff's department that's got to get trained and brought up. We got to train our dispatchers to bring up. It's going to be a hard, long process, and phasing in all departments, all small cities, all volunteer fire departments, and all the police department, our volunteer firefighters. It's going to be a monumental task to do all that. And this committee is going to have to come up with some procedures and how all that's going to pull together. And it may not be practical to, commit these funds right now when we know we got other funds. And, you know, the question came up at the meeting last week. What happens if we do take over the dispatch for the fire departments? Well, the dispatch for AMR is on the fire department channel. If they have to bring that over to us, then how is AMR going to dispatch? And if they can't dispatch and we have to dispatch AMR, well, that's a whole different set of problems. That means we got to add more staff. That means we got to have more equipment, and we have to have different qualifications. Virginia, I think you said they had to be medically certified to be a dispatcher on medical calls. So it's, you know, there are a lot of moving parts we don't know anything about and what the right answer is. And I think it's premature and not fiscally responsible to make a vote to spend some money that we don't know what we're spending it on. And we don't know how the radios will, if we're going to be leasing them to everybody. I know we want to control them in our dispatch, but setting them up and making sure they're set up correctly. We want to have some control over that. We're not going to just give it to them. I think, Daniel, I think you've told me before that we can't give anything like that to a department. We have to lease it to them or something. We can't.
Well, there's, it depends on what the rules are attached to the particular funding that we're using.
Would you speak up, please, Daniel?
Yeah, it depends on what the grant requirements are, the grant assurances, basically, that we have to give, in this case, to the federal government related to the spending of that money. I don't know if you can buy radios and then give them to those departments, to the police departments, I guess, and to the fire departments. It might be something that you buy and then allow them to use. But then the question comes, who is in charge of maintenance for those, and who's in charge of keeping up with them? So those are questions that certainly need to be addressed.
I'll say this right here. Basically, it kind of surprises me that the federal government would want us to lease it out to them. I wouldn't have even thought that would have been a plus on that, as far as we leasing it out to them, letting them pay us back.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Because that's what that one deal said, as far as they'd pay it off in 5 years or whatever. What I read on that part of that deal last week that was brought out.
We could lease it to them for $1 a year. We don't have to lease it and be paid back. A lease doesn't have to be like a payment back.
But it did say lease, and it did say within 5 years that they'd be paid for. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. On the restricted availability, as I said earlier, we have $5,653,734. On the non-restricted, we have $3,855,036. We have capital improvement in reference to right at 15 million. I'm saying that, and I agree with you in reference to that. We're looking at, I had rather do this than let it continue the way it is now. Law enforcement, fire departments and all that, they don't have any communications. So are we not going to move forward in reference to this? This ARPA money that basically L3 is putting out, in fact, I read that thing from here, that ARPA money that they're asking for, is that the same money that we have available, or is that something else coming from the government?
What was it again?
Huh?
What was that again?
The ARPA money where L3 puts in to get, they're talking about the use of ARPA money. Is that some other ARPA money that they have, or is that from this county, what we were supposed to distribute for the people of this county ourselves? We did have, I think it was 10 million in reference to trying to pay back in reference to, what we had in COVID. But this ARPA money that L3 gives, is it the same ARPA money that we have that we can use?
I don't know what money you're talking about.
I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying, Philip.
Well, it says L3, basically.
Are you talking about an internet website that you're reading?
Yes, yes.
I don't know.
Application assistance available from Fire Grant Help Team and L3, and this is apply for American Rescue Act, and it goes on. It talks about fire departments, it talks about the cities and all that. And that's what this is all about, bringing together, basically, so we'll have a safer and a healthier, or it's due to safety as far as that goes. I've been there, you've been there. You've been on the phone, you've been on the radio, you couldn't get anybody.
I'm not sure what that website is that you're looking at. Is that some L3 guide on how other people with ARPA money can get radios? Or is that something specifically related to Hunt County?
No, that's what I'm saying.
The former.
That, you ought to go on L3, we've already paid them somewhat amount of money. We only owed them according to them, $33,737. What I'm saying is this. We have the availability to make it safer here in Hunt County as far as communication, and why wouldn't we not?
Let's let Buddy's got a comment, maybe he can
Yes.
get us to understand this.
It's my understanding from listening to Harry Maddox at these sales presentations, that website is an offer of assistance from L3 Harris to help these smaller agencies get money through different grant programs. Unfortunately, when we got it in late February, we no longer qualified on the grant programs that L3 Harris introduced us to. L3 Harris is not trying to give us anything. They're offered to assist in us obtaining grants for law enforcement. So if that's the same website you're talking about, that's what Harry Maddox introduced to us back in this presentation.
Okay, thank
He's
you.
the head guy at L3 Harris.
L3 Harris, he's a salesperson.
He's a salesperson, yeah.
And one other thing I want to correct. We today have an effective communication system functional through the fire departments. They may not like it. Through Hunt County, we don't like it. And AMR, but it is functional. We're working with it. And until we get this radio system in effect, we'll still have communications. So I just wanted to clarify that. If I misunderstood you, I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Mark, Philip, what I'm saying is we don't even know how much money it is. I don't know if we can even approve something that says we're just going to pull numbers out of the hat to spend some taxpayer-funded money. That's not a good idea, in my opinion. And there's no, doing it today or 2 months from now, the radios will still be here before we can get our radio system up. It's not a dire emergency that this has to happen right now. And, I I've been told that the Fire Association had a meeting, and I've always wondered why the Fire Association didn't bring this up instead of one or two departments, but I don't think the other fire departments are pushing to do this, from what I understood from their association meeting a week or two ago. So I don't know that we need to just rush out because a couple of the fire departments want us to commit some money to do something. We've told them we're going to do it. We know we have to do it, but we need to figure out what we need to do and when we need to do it and how much it's going to cost us, and then take action on it. That's a responsible way for government to work, in my view. And
Who come up with the $1.8 million in reference to it, May?
well, Philip, that's off of a request that just went out and said, how many radios does each department think they need? And some of them asked for 20 radios when they don't even have 12 people working there. So that's a wish list. It's not a real list that we need. Nobody knows what that is yet.
Well, we're willing to give a blank check, though.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the fire departments after the last meeting we had here and got a roster from each of them and an apparatus list from each of them. And I've kind of worked with one of the firefighters about what all they need for those departments and stuff. And so I put together some numbers. I've sent off for a quote. We're waiting for the sales guy to get back with us. I also have some numbers from the local PDs and everything too. And so I'm working on those quotes as well. It's part of what the committee's for. And kind of like what Judge said, if say the fire department joins our radio network tomorrow, who's dispatching the ambulance? Because Hunt County Dispatch, I love all my dispatchers, but we are not equipped or trained to be able to EMD or emergency medical dispatch. That's a whole different certification. And I don't have anybody in my office that's ever done EMD. So we pull the radio, the fire department radio, then we also pull AMR's ability to dispatch ambulance.
Well, we wouldn't pull it until we were ready for it, but.
So why spend the money now,
But
then?
we're not spending it, we're holding it back. We're holding it back for the future. That's what we're doing. That's done in a lot of companies in reference to that. Basically, we're putting money back. You're saying tomorrow, I know this is not going to open tomorrow. They were supposed to be able to start the tower back in March, and I don't think it's even out there. It's for the future, though. But that's the whole thing. We need to be looking for the future, you're saying, because then where are we going to get the money? We had a deal come through court here recently that we needed to hire so many more dispatchers and so many of this projecting this type of stuff. So I'm not asking you to spend the money, I'm asking you to put it back. This money right here that I just talked of, we have, the gentleman, the judge brought up different things that we had. Well, none of that has been committed as far as air conditions, as far as this and that. All I'm saying is have the money to where when it happens, when we throw it, when we do it, we have it. And that's it. And that's all I'm asking this court to do, to set that aside to where we can have it for the future.
Well, I guess I'll side with what Mark Hutchins said it the last time. We shouldn't approve any ARPA funding until we have a plan. And I don't know why we're talking about this now. And I don't understand why Mark made the motion last time. When the prior meeting, he voted no on a $75,000 contribution to women in need that are desperately needing it for the care of our citizens that are in danger. And he said no to the vote, but he said it's because he wanted to wait till we get a plan to how we're going to spend it all. And I totally agree with that. We need a plan. That's why we brought in a consultant last time. We're trying to get somebody that knows, make sure we don't misstep on how we spend it. If we all understand what the budget and how our money works, we got enough money to do everything we want to do. We just got to figure out which pocket we want to take it out of when we figure out exactly how to do it. And the radios have already been started, and I think I said this earlier, since we've already started a project, I don't know how that affects the ARPA funds at all. It may affect us, it may disqualify us, we may be able to reimburse. There's no hurry to do this today. We got plenty of time, the committee's meeting tomorrow, give them some time to research it, answer a lot of questions that's been brought up today, plus a lot more that they'll think of. We had a meeting last Friday, and every time somebody opened their mouth, I think somebody else had another question that triggered them about, well, what about this? So we've got to go through those exercises and figure out what all the questions are, go get the answers, and come back with a business plan and a reasonable recommendation of how to spend the money and how much to spend.
There are lives, basically, and I'm not talking about now because this is not going to go over right now. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen. The money from ARPA was given by the federal government to use in reference to safety health, because you read this book right here and that's all it talks about. And it can be read. It can be read. And even in there, it does say radios for health and safety. But understand this, we got all these people that haven't figured that out. Radios is what it can be used for. That's the future, because I want to tell you something, we don't get that much money from the federal government for nothing. I've been in this court 20 years, and we have never received that much money from the federal government. There's no doubt, but this is a way to step up. No, it's not going to all take tomorrow, the next day, but will we have that money come the next? If we have to put all this out and show where it's going to be, we didn't even know that at first, when this first was put out, that we had till December 24. Nothing was going to happen after that. You done lost out on your 45%. Now, all of a sudden, we got, well, this needs to be taken care of due to the future, because later on, we're not going to have that much money. And none of this money right here, even the capital improvement, we could do it probably. But none of this money, in actuality, possibly won't exist later.
Judge,
I made that motion. I'm asking
We got a
for a
motion,
second.
Let Mark say what he.
yeah, I'll try not to belabor the point. I think what's different about this project versus others is it's an ongoing project that's going to require something of other entities that participate in the system. And so this is a walking and chewing gum scenario. All we need to do, in my opinion, and I've made that known before, is just set this aside so that we have some certainty on that point. And I don't think it's wrong for the public to be concerned that we do this because they're concerned about the response times. And yes, we're taking actions to correct this. But we heard even today during public testimony time lots of frustration with communications from the county. And I don't know about the situation, so maybe there were fair criticisms, maybe not. We'll have to look into that. But this communicates to the public that when we say we're going to make sure this happens, it's darn well going to happen because we're putting this aside. And if we find out that there's less required, this is not obligating us to making zero changes in the future. It's not unlike moving money from the fund balance to the capital improvement line item to fund work on the Puddin Hill project, even though we don't have specific numbers there. And I think some in the public might be alarmed to hear courthouse windows being lumped in the same category for what's competing for these ARPA funds versus radio. I think that's a poor thing to communicate.
I didn't say that it would replace it. I said we have options of which pocket to pay out of. We can pay the windows out of our capital improvement, or we can pay it out with ARPA funds. My point was, it's not fair to say that we need to do the radio project out of ARPA funds because it's not local taxpayer dollars. Well, it might be local taxpayer dollars if it forces us to spend money on another project out of local taxpayer dollars. So I'm just saying I don't think was a fair statement.
There's always competition for the funds.
For projects, absolutely. We've talked about a lot of them, and the ones we've talked about and what they'll cost, we can't spend the money that we've got set aside to do all of it.
I'm happy to go for us to bring in the consultants, go through the committee process. I just think it's unnecessary to resist setting aside this money to guarantee and communicate a guarantee on that front. That's my position.
All right, any other?
Got a motion?
Got him.
Before y'all vote, I mean, a year and a half from now, we're going to be justifying to the federal government every decision that was made here. And so before you vote on this, we need to be real clear what the motion is, because I don't know what kind of legal weight that's going to bear. And so my understanding is you want to set aside $2.3 million of the restricted funds.
Or unrestricted, he said.
Well, that's what we need to make sure that the minutes say exactly what we're talking about here, because it may cause issues in the future. So you're saying 2.3 from either the restricted or unrestricted.
My question to you, do you think it needs to be restricted or unrestricted?
I don't know. That's why we're getting the consultant involved. I haven't looked at that. I mean, that's outside of the area of my normal practice. What you're talking about there is grant requirements, and that's why we have a specialist. That specialist is terrible, so we're replacing that specialist. That's what the RFP thing that we talked about a few minutes ago is for. I don't know the answer to whether or not, which of those it comes out of.
Well, I did have contingent upon clarification from our consultant in reference to this project qualifying from the restricted portion. I do have that, but also basically I would possibly want to add to it either from the restricted or restricted. It depends which one qualifies. In actuality, I'm trying to wonder whether we actually can take it from capital improvement in reference to it. This basically was free money given to us in actuality. Think about it. So in actuality, it will not be affecting our regular budget. So if you desire, I'd say I make a motion that we set aside monies for this purpose from the restricted portion or non-restricted portion of the ARPA funds, and that's 2.3 million, at this time contingent upon clarification from our consultant in reference to this project qualifying from one of those two, if you desire to have it that way.
So you're saying, you're listing out an order of priority. So you want it to come from restricted if our consultant says it can.
Yes.
And if it can't, then come from the unrestricted.
We can go with either way. That's pretty common, basically. But this is not just talked about here. It's done all over the place, setting it aside for this.
Let's get the motion
No,
down.
wait just a
Let's get the
second.
motion down.
Good enough? So how would you desire for me to say it to where we won't have a problem later on in the future, Daniel?
Well, I just need to make sure that it's clear in the minute. So that is clear, but what is the contingency? So if they say you can't do it from restricted, then it goes to unrestricted, and that's
Either or.
Okay.
Either or.
Well, but it's an order, you're talking about an order of priority, right? So it comes from restricted if they say yes.
Yes.
If they say no, then it comes from unrestricted.
Now, whichever one applies for it to be legal,
And then.
in which I
unrestricted. So
actually think both of them can.
Potentially.
Yes.
But what does your motion cover? Is it just the radio sets themselves or all the other stuff that comes along with it, like radio, like administration of dispatch and things like that?
Yes. Not dispatch, basically radios so that the officers can have them, the cities can have them. You would possibly have consoles also, and there's we're talking about radios, they have that other.
Understood. And that's, I need to make sure, because this may be, the motion that you're making, if it's accepted by the court, may have some longer-term impacts to how we report things to the government. And so your motion just covers radios, not administration or anything else from the 2.3
I'm not talking about administration, I'm talking about radios and that technology that goes with it.
Okay, and then what if it doesn't cost that amount? Because we have to have all of that money committed by the end of this year, otherwise we lose it. So what if it costs $1 million?
Well, we have until 2026, if I'm not mistaken, That,
No, we got
if it's committed,
2024
am
to
I correct?
obligate ARPA funds.
Am I correct? We have it until 2026 if it's been committed, if I'm not mistaken, in reference to carry it over. And I imagine that that money will be spent.
But being committed is not a motion in court to spend the money. A commitment, as I understand it, it has to be the project in detail of exactly what's going to happen, who's going to do the work, and when the work is all going to be performed. It can't be just a motion that we're going to do it sometime in the next 18 months.
Yeah, between now and 8 months from now, we have to commit it in a particular way.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I need to, based on the language in your motion, I just need to understand what you want to happen if if it doesn't cost 2.3 for the radios. If it costs a lot less than that, then what is it that that you want to happen to the leftover amount?
I was reading on that basically, if it goes past that other, we can amend it between now and then, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? In other words, you can put that out, but you can't, whatever's left over after the 20, and 25 or 26, it goes back. Am I correct? Have you read that?
Well, if it's not committed or spent, then eventually, yes, it does go back. What I'm saying is, in the next 8 months, in between now and the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of movement toward committing all of that money. And what I'm trying to make sure is clear on the record here is the commitment that you're talking about.
Yes.
Doesn't actually cost 2.3 million. If we get our consultant involved and then.
Well, that's why I have on the last part of it, upon clarification from our consultant in reference to this project qualifying, we can put the money back, but then rely on the person that we don't have here right now because we got rid of the other one. We'll go upon their clarification what we can, but I'm saying put it back at this time and reference that until we get this clarification.
So if we can get it back, then it's not obligated, so why are we doing it today?
Because I think the people are tired of it, trying to figure out whether we're going to get it.
Oh, you got two departments that came up here and said they were tired of it. The rest of the fire
Well, I don't
departments
know.
did not.
I didn't know that they come up.
All right, we got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. No. Let's do it by hand. All for, raise their hand. I couldn't tell who voted what. Okay, 2 for, all against. All right, the motion fails.
Thank you.
Action item 14, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities which will be in the right-of-way of County Road 3609 in Precinct 3 under normal stipulations.
I so move that we pass this.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 15, the request for permission to do work within the right-of-way along County Road 4107, 2,114 feet north of the intersection of County Road 4107 and Interstate 30 Service Road, 3112 County Road 4107, Greenville, Texas. We are looking to install 140 by 3 inland pole approximately 1 foot inside the western right-of-way line of County Road 4107 in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 16, the request for permission to do work within the county right-of-way along County Road 4505. Encore will be replacing poles and upgrading utility lines in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 17, the request for permission to do work within the county right-of-way along County Road 4506. Encore will be replacing poles and upgrading utility lines in Precinct 4 under normal stipulation.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 18, the request for permission to do work within the county right-of-way along County Road 4508. Encore will be replacing some down guys on one existing utility pole on County Road 4508 in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 19, the request for permission to do work within county road right-of-way along County Road 4606 east of the intersection of Highway 11. We are proposing to install one span, approximately 250 feet of single-phase 7.2 kV overhead power primary along the south right-of-way line of County Road 4606, and one span approximately 75 feet crossing County Road 4606 in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 20, the final plat of Martinez Acres being a replat of the Lewis Chevrolet addition.
All right, this is in Precinct 4, by the way. The original plat was approved last year. We had a developer come in, they bought all of the lots of the plat and are proposing to replat them into smaller lots. So that's, they're going from, I believe, 4-acre lots to 2-acre lots, or from 5-acre lots to 2-acre lots.
We have public hearing on this. Public hearing.
Yes.
Yes, and this is a replat, so it will require public hearing.
Any questions? All right, this time I'll open up to public comments. Anybody wishing to speak for or against the replat, please come forward, state your name. Daniel, anybody online? Being no one, I close the public hearing. Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 21, the final plat of Evergreen Acres being a replat of lots 3 and 4 of the Fair Edition.
And this is a fairly simple plat. They had platted it a couple of years ago, and the owner, the original developer of the plat, owned a lot that he has a house on. He owned the adjacent lot, and he and the neighbor to the south decided that they didn't want another house in between them, so they are doing away with that lot and adding to their existing lots. And as to what we had discussed as far as titling, there has been no deeds filed, no land has changed hands as of yet. I did let the surveyor know, who I have contact for, let them know that land cannot be conveyed through a plat. There will have to be deeds to convey the property that's going to be changing hands. So I'd probably request a conditional approval upon them.
Daniel, I got a legal question for you. This is 3 lots, and they're replatting it into 2, and one owner doesn't own, his lot as it sits, he doesn't have any interest in that other lot. And so can he even sign, or can we approve a replat for something that he doesn't own and have him sign? I mean, I brought it up to Brian, I don't want to approve this and file it, and they think that a replat conveys title, because it doesn't convey title. There has to be a conveyance.
Mm.
It's legal to do that. It just will cause a lot of problems in the future for whoever gets that property next. Because they can divide it up. I don't know if that's going to make any difference at the tax office, I assume it's going to cause problems down there.
It should.
It's definitely going to cause problems when either person tries to get a policy on the title whenever they sell it or when somebody inherits it. But otherwise, it's not illegal for that to
Could we approve it subject to, like Brian was saying, subject to the conveyance be done? There's only one. Yeah, the neighbor needs to convey what portion of that lot he currently owns that the neighbor's buying. That all needs to happen, so there's not a problem in the future, and it doesn't affect the tax office any. Can we approve it and ask them to do that?
Are we on the shot clock
Yes,
for it?
that wouldn't be a problem.
And then the shot clock wouldn't work because they got a condition, they got to go fix it, and that starts that over.
That's right.
Correct? Yeah.
It doesn't start it over, it's
Continues
it
it.
stops it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody understand the problem?
Are we gonna put this under old business?
No, we need to, we are shot clock, so we need to approve it with a condition. So I'll entertain a motion to approve final plat of Evergreen Acres with the condition that the conveyance of a portion of the lot unowned by one of the parties making the replat get title to the tract that he needs.
So,
I think that's right.
so moved if Daniel says that's okay.
Is that all right, Daniel?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Sound like a Philip motion.
Got a motion and a second? Thank you.
You're voting on it.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Oh.
Public hearing.
Oh, public hearings.
Hearing on it.
Thank you. We'll back up. This time I'll open it for public comments. Being none, I'll close it for public comments. Now I entertain the motion for the approval of Evergreen Acres, the replat of lots 3 and 4, fair addition, with the condition that they convey the necessary tract to the necessary parties prior to filing the plat.
With a warranty deed or a special warranty.
With a warranty deed or special warranty deed.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We totally confused you, Christie.
That's why we have video.
Action number 22, the final plat of Burke Addition in Precinct 4.
This is a fairly simple deal. Gentleman has purchased a property and he's dividing it into 2 properties. Meets all county requirements.
Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Action number 23, the final plat of Taurus Addition in Precinct 4.
This is a one-lot subdivision. We're at our shot clock time. I would make a recommendation on a conditional approval on the right-of-way being brought up to county spec. The right-of-way is not to county spec now, but...
It's not cleared or not, they don't...
It's cleared, but he's not escrowed the money to upgrade the road.
Okay. All right.
He hadn't put up escrow to do it.
So it's
That's correct. But we're at the shot clock time.
He's cleared the right of way, he cleared the fence line,
Right-of-way is cleared.
but he hadn't put up so we just need to
That's correct.
approve it subject to his putting up escrow money for the widening of the county road.
Correct.
Okay.
Tower specifications.
All right, so I entertain a motion for approval of the final plat of the Taurus Addition Precinct 4 with stipulation that he has to put up the earnest money or the escrow money for the county road improvement.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Just for, so the public knows what the shot clock, we have 60 days or 30?
30 days.
30 days, once the plat's turned in, that we have to take action on it. Just so the public knows what the shot clock is.
If there's no decision made by the court within 30 days, then...
It's automatically approved.
It's automatically approved.
Right.
So,
All right. Daniel, you got anything else? All right, if not, entertain a motion to go in executive session under items 1 through 4.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned to executive session at 11:55.
Internally, we can start to do a schedule so we can keep up with all the movement of the thing.
I mean, I certainly don't mind, but,
Judge, we're still live.
oh, thank you. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 12:16.